Well, the 2022 NBA draft is now over. I had some time to wipe away the tears shed from last night. Yes, I have an issue anytime I see someone else cry. I shed some tears as well. And now we wait to see how this year's draftees pan out in the NBA. So it's a perfect time to take a way too early look at the 2023 draft prospects. Get ready to hear this name over and over again. Victor Wembanyama. He's a clear-cut favorite for the number one pick, an 18-year-old in the EuroLeague. Folks saying that the French native will be the biggest talent from the overseas ever. I mean, that is a bold statement to make, that's for sure. And then we're also looking at the G League Ignite. They did well in the draft last night. Scoot Henderson, number 2 on the list as of now. We have some student athletes coming in to round out the top 10. Of course, Arthur Thompson from Overtime Elite at number 7. Duke staying true to form, showing off more in 2023. Last night, Duke setting program record with 5 players selected. All right, let's welcome in our award-winning college basketball guru, Gary Parrish. Now, did we give you enough time to rest after last night's draft? I know we didn't call you first thing this morning, but are you good? You good?
I'm good. I plan on resting tomorrow.
All right, perfect. Well, then let's dive in. Way too early look at the 2023 NBA draft. We're going to look at some prospects, and we're starting things off with Victor Wembanyama. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right because it's going to be a name that we're going to be hearing over and over again. What can you tell us about him?
Well, Jenny, we spent months, weeks, even the hours leading up to the 2022 NBA draft discussing and debating who should be the number one pick, Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, or Paolo Banchero. And reasonable minds could disagree on that. There will be no such debate next year. Victor Wembanyama is going to be the number one pick of the 2023 NBA draft, barring some sort of injury issues or something like that. Simply put, he's a generational talent, described as literally one of the best NBA prospects ever. He's 7'3" with a 7'9" wingspan. And I know this sounds a bit hyperbolic, but these are the things that, evaluators say about him, that he can rim protect at an elite level, like Rudy Gobert, the multi-time NBA Defensive Player of the Year. But he can guard in space as well in ways that Gobert cannot. So at this age, at this point in the process, he projects as a better defensive player than a guy who has won multiple NBA Defensive Player of the Year awards. And then on offense, he's just a dynamic weapon. Somebody who can come off of screens and knock down shots. He's been described as, in certain situations, a bigger Kevin Durant. So think of Rudy Gobert on defense, who can actually guard in space, and Kevin Durant on offense, knocking down shots from all over the court. People don't talk about him like he's a future all-star. They start the conversation with future MVP, and that's the biggest prize that's going to be available this time next year.
No pressure. I mean, this guy, it seems like the sky is the limit here. It'll be exciting for sure. And maybe we won't have those hours and hours of discussion of who's going to be number one. We're already going to know. All right. Already making a huge name for himself. That's awesome. So Duke, they cleaned the floor last night at the draft, set the program record with 5 players selected. More to come potentially in 2023, including Duke commit in Derrick Whitehead. So what can you tell us about Whitehead?
Well, he's a terrific prospect, one of the prizes of Jon Scheyer's first recruiting class. A lot of people had a lot of different opinions about the succession plan, at Duke, with Mike Krzyzewski announcing a retirement, naming a successor, but then coaching one more year. But the truth is, this whole plan could not have gone better, or at least much better. Duke went to the Final Four after winning an ACC title. Mike Krzyzewski got to go out after an undeniably successful season. And then Jon Scheyer recruited like crazy the entire time to set himself up for immediate success. And he did so by, signing the number one recruiting class in America. And Derrick Whitehead is a big part of that. Played 4 years at Montverde Academy, so he's been surrounded by high-level talent forever. He's a 6'7" wing with a 6'10" wingspan. He's the type of player NBA franchises really value a lot these days. He's a wing with size who can shoot, though the jumper does need to get a little more consistent. Plays hard, and like I said, should be great for Jon Scheyer. It's not crazy to think that the Blue Devils should compete for a national championship in their new coach's first year on the job.
Yeah, as you mentioned there, it seems like he can play multiple positions. That's definitely intriguing for NBA teams out there. Up next, we have Wallace out of Kentucky. Now, Shavir Wheeler is returning to Kentucky for his senior year, and that means Wallace will be playing in a role similar to what Ty Washington's role was the past season. Now, Washington, of course, getting drafted last night. So tell us more about Wallace and what we can expect from him.
Well, Jenny, you've got it exactly right. He's going to play a similar role to what Ty Washington played at Kentucky. He's a capable lead guard, but he's going to play off the ball a lot. And, he's terrific. I saw him in person, several times on the grassroots circuit. But, earlier this year in the Iverson Classic that we carried on CBS Sports Network, is 6'3", 6'4", combo guard, great wingspan, incredible defensively, gets up in people, makes life hard for you, really takes pride in guarding his position. I think he's a better prospect than Ty Washington, even if he might play a similar role to Ty Washington at Kentucky. And this is a guy who probably needs to improve the offensive skill set a little bit, but I'm a believer that he'll be able to do that. I just love the intensity he brings to the court. And with Kentucky bringing back Oscar Tshiebwe and then adding a prospect of this caliber, John Calipari, I know Kentucky fans have become a little frustrated in recent years because 2 years ago, they were really not good at all. And this past season lost to St. Peter's in the opening round of the NCAA tournament. But he has restocked the roster once again, and Kentucky's going to be a legitimate title contender operating at the tip top of the sport.
Yeah, you talk about his intensity, too. Also, it says that he's fearless, which is always a fun watch. So that'll be exciting to check out. Now, we're going to go back to Duke again. Derrick Lively, one of the top-ranked players in the 2022 high school class. What can we expect to see in his career?
Well, he's going to be great at Duke. I mean, he's the top-ranked high school player in his class, according to 24/7 Sports. 7'1" center with a 9'4" standing reach. I mean, we're talking about somebody who is a great rim protector. Actually played with Jalen Duren, who was selected in the top 15 of the 2022 NBA draft. Played with him on the grassroots circuit, and at least from my perspective, looked like the better prospect, better player at that time. So he's terrific, but he is a one-position player playing the one position that has been devalued at the NBA level. And so that's why I have him a little lower, in the top 10 than maybe some others would, and certainly lower than where he's ranked in his high school class. But that's because I'm not 100% sure he's going to project as a modern center who can, stretch it all the way out to the three-point line and guard in space. But none of this will be a problem at the collegiate level. He should be overwhelming. And then we'll see if he can do the little things that modern bigs are asked to do. And that'll ultimately determine whether he's picked, closer to 1 than he is 10. But at this point, I would think closer to 10 than 1.
In an interview, Lively said, "I know I'm not going to go out there and take every shot or grab every rebound. I just want to show the NBA scouts that I can play basketball good enough to make it to the league." And I'm sure that he will go out there and do just that. Now, last prospect we're going to address right now, Jett Howard, MVP of the Iverson Classic. That left some evaluators insisting that he was the most NBA-ready player of everyone that was at that All-Star game. And, of course, his dad, Juwan Howard. So there's that as well. What info do you have on Jett?
Well, Jenny, this is a player I have higher than most draft analysts would at this point in his career. He's not ranked accordingly in his high school class. More borderline top 50 guy than a top 10 pick. But I can tell you, I was on the sideline for the Iverson Classic for CBS Sports Network, and spent some time talking to Matt Barnes, former NBA player, J.R. Smith, former NBA player. And it was interesting because those guys were brought in, late in the week to, serve as mentors, but and talk to the players, but also, work out with them and put them through drills. And these guys, I say this as respectfully as I can say it, but they don't have much context as it, pertains to where somebody's ranked in their high school class by a scouting service. They don't really pay attention to that. So they come in with a blank slate, and guys like Cason Wallace and Keontae George were there, 5-star top 10 prospects. But to a man, the people I talked to said they thought Jett Howard was the best NBA prospect, most NBA-ready guy in the building. And then he went out and earned MVP honors. So he's a 6'7" wing, super skilled, like you might expect a coach's son to be. And I just think he's going to be terrific in his first year at Michigan. And if he's as terrific as I think he's going to be, it'll be his only year at Michigan, because he'll then bounce quickly to the NBA and I think, have a real impact in the league for a while, because the skill set and the size for his position, that stuff is all pretty easy to see.
Gary, are you saying that these NBA stars aren't following us here on HQ or watching 24/7 sports and reading all the articles? Is that what you're trying to tell me right now?
What I'm telling you is, having spent time with J.R. Smith, he doesn't strike me as the type who is running through the top 40 list of high school rankings. He's just a hooper who comes into the gym and says, okay, I don't know who these people are, but let's see who can play. And his opinion coming out of that was, I'm telling you, if we were trying to draft people for the NBA right now out of this building, I wouldn't take the 5-star recruit going to Baylor or the 5-star recruit going to Kentucky. I would take Jett Howard, who's going to Michigan.
That definitely says something. Gary, thank you so much for joining us here on theCUBE. Get some rest. I know that you're exhausted after last night. But of course, we got the Eye on College Basketball podcast. Obviously, the latest one is a breakdown of the 2022 NBA draft. A lot of work goes into this, folks. So take a listen, download, and subscribe it today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.